Welcome to Grupo ISASTUR. Grupo ISASTUR comprises a group of companies specializing in the creation and maintenance of infrastructure, primarily related to the energy and industrial sectors, with a strong global presence. The health and safety of people and respect for the environment are key concerns within our corporate governance system and are considered the responsibility and a shared task of all the people working in our organization and all of our partners. It is important for us that you share these values and follow the recommendations we put forward in this video. Workers' obligations. Comply with established preventative, health and safety, and environmental rules and measures. The company will provide the appropriate work and personal protective equipment. Use it correctly and responsibly. Pay attention to your own health and safety and to that of other people that may be affected by your work. Cooperate proactively with the management in upholding, promoting and improving health and safety and the environment at work. Participate in health and safety meetings. Share your views. Mandatory personal protective equipment. Always wear a helmet, safety footwear and safety glasses, as well as any work clothes your company may provide. In view of possible hazards, additional personal protective equipment may be required. For example, gloves, face shield, hearing protection when using noise-generating equipment or when working in noisy environments, etc. Do not wear watches, rings, chains, or any other items that could get caught or that conduct electricity. The environment. The organization regularly undertakes initiatives to minimize the impact of our activity on the environment and to reduce pollution. To contribute to these environmental objectives, you must do the following. Handle hazardous products correctly. Whenever possible, use a containment system to prevent spillage, collection pits or containers, waterproof floors, etc. Optimize the use of resources, that is, switch off the lights when they are not needed. Turn off hoses and taps when you finish using them. Drive responsibly to minimize fuel consumption and reduce carbon dioxide emissions into the atmosphere, etc. Each worksite will feature an area to deposit waste that we call clean points. Here, you will find containers or clearly indicated areas depending on the type of waste. It is very important that you separate waste correctly and avoid mixing different types. The objective is that each type of waste should receive the correct type of treatment, that is, recycling, reuse, recovery, or landfill. Remember that each container or separate area is for a specific type of waste. Chemicals. Take all the necessary precautions when using chemicals. Follow the manufacturer's instructions indicated on the safety datasheets and product labels. Pay particular attention to any hazard symbols. Maximize hygienic measures. Wash your hands, arms and face after using these products. Use the appropriate personal protective equipment. Always use basic PPE and, depending on the product and ventilation, you may also require specific types of gloves, face shield, respiratory protection, special clothing or footwear, etc. Workplace. Housekeeping. Keep work areas clean and tidy. Make sure that the transit areas and exits are unobstructed. Do not smoke or light fires or generate sparks near flammable or combustible products. Place fire extinguishers near workplaces. Signs and protection. Respect the signs found at workplaces. Mark and place signs in working areas when other people are nearby by means of fences, chains, cones, tape. Protect or, if not possible, place signs warning of openings or obstacles. Hold the handrail when walking up or down stairs. Trenches, wells, openings and holes. Check excavation work, slopes, shoring on a daily basis before starting each shift and after breaks. Keep or stack equipment or materials at a safe distance from the top of slopes. Keep traffic at a suitable distance from the edges of digging areas. Use safe accesses into trenches, wells and holes. Protect digging areas, openings and uneven ground by means of fences equipped with handrails, crossboards and toe boards. If they cannot be fenced off, indicate their presence by means of signs. Keep a safe distance from openings, slopes, ditches, cliffs. Confined spaces. The main risks of working in confined spaces include asphyxia, due to lack of oxygen, poisoning, due to the presence of toxic agents, and explosion, due to an explosive mixture or an excess of oxygen. Work in confined spaces can only be performed by staff that have been trained, approved, and who are familiar with the rules of conduct in an emergency. Using a safe work procedure, including written work permits. Working at heights. Risk of falling from heights. All work involving a risk of falling from a height greater than 1.5 meters can only be performed by staff that have been trained, approved, and who are familiar with emergency measures, applying safe working procedures, using the appropriate collective and personal protective equipment. Personal fall arrest devices. The elements of a fall arrest system are body harness, shock-absorbing lanyard or dual line, lifeline or retractable fall arrestor. To safely use a fall arrest system, you must comply with the following instructions. Check the condition of the harness and of all accessories before use. Don the equipment correctly. Anchor yourself to a strong point and as high up as possible, preferably higher than your shoulders. Y lanyards. The Y lanyard is a lifeline that, when combined with a shock-absorbing lanyard, can form a basic fall protection system. This device clearly provides a greater level of autonomy for workers when moving vertically or horizontally. In order to use this device correctly, it must always be attached to the front or rear ring of the harness, and the end hooks must be anchored and locked to a solid and resistant point, if possible, higher than the worker's chest ring. Scaffolding. Scaffolding must be installed, removed, or altered in accordance with the relevant installation instructions and by trained and authorized personnel. Railings should be placed at a regulation height and include a handrail, mid-height crossbar, and toe board. Ensure stability using braces, struts, and suitable fixing elements. Scaffolding must be approved before it can be used. During the assembly or removal process, or while on the scaffolding, workers' fall arrest harnesses must be anchored to a strong point at all times. Elevating platforms. Elevating platforms will only be handled by trained and authorized staff. Check the equipment daily before use, and if you detect any anomaly, notify your superior immediately. Always use fall arrest harnesses anchored to the structure of the platform. Ladders. Check the ladder before use. Side rails, rungs, anti-slip shoes, etc. If any defect is found, remove the ladder and inform your superior. When transporting or using extension ladders, make sure the rung locks are in place. Check that the support area of the ladder is stable, secure, and free of obstacles. Immobilize the ladder and, until then, get a colleague to hold it. Mark the risk zone. To access a place using a ladder, the ladder should extend high enough for safe access. Always climb up and down ladders facing the ladder using both hands. Step ladders should have spread locks and should be used completely open. Do not straddle a step ladder. Two people must not climb a ladder at the same time. Keep a safe distance from electrical elements. Use a fall arrest system if working at a height above 1.5 meters. Access and positioning systems. To access and work on supports, gantries, ladders, and other structures, workers must be trained and authorized to do so. Two types of equipment must also be used simultaneously. 1. A fall arrest system, single or double lifeline, also known as a Y lanyard, together with shock-absorbing features. Sliding fall arrestor on a lanyard, rail, or cable. Automatic retractable system, also known as a reel drum or retractable fall arrestor. 2. A harness with adjustable clamping elements. Work involving electrical hazards. Electrical hazard. Tetanization is understood as the uncontrolled movement of muscles due to the passage of electrical energy. Depending on the direction of the current, we can lose control of hands, arms, chest muscles, and so on. Asphyxia occurs when the electrical current affects nerve centers that regulate respiratory functions, causing respiratory arrest. Whenever possible, power will be disconnected when working on an electric installation or near one. Electrical work can only be performed by staff that have been approved and who are familiar with emergency measures, in accordance with an established procedure. using the suitable work and protective equipment. Work without power, shutting down an installation. To work safely on electrical units, shut down the unit, applying the following 5 golden rules in the established order. 1. Disconnect all power sources that feed the part of the facility where you'll be working by means of a visible brake switch. 2. Prevent any possible reconnection by locking or blocking the brake switch. Place a "Do Not Connect" sign. 3. Check there is no power. Check the measuring equipment before and after taking the measurement. 4. Connect all the possible power sources to earth and short, as near the work area as possible. Connect to earth first. 5. Fence off and mark the whole area. Reconnecting and installation. Before reconnecting, collect the tools and equipment used. All workers must leave the hazard zone. Power must be reconnected in the reverse order as when disconnected. Remove signs. Remove the connection to earth and short circuit. Unlock the brake switch and remove the signs. Connect the power. Personal protective equipment for electrical work. In the presence of electrical hazards, including the disconnection and connection of power sources, as described above, workers must wear their basic personal protective equipment, helmet, safety boots and glasses, as well as specific protective equipment such as insulating mats or benches, suitable long-sleeved clothing, electric arc face shield, insulating gloves. Work near power sources. Working near power sources requires permanent vigilance by authorized workers and the clear demarcation of the work area. When working in these environments, respect the safety distances specified in the regulations. Work equipment, machines and tools. Work equipment, machines and tools shall be used by trained and authorized staff. Check that the equipment is in perfect condition before using it. Use the right equipment for each job. Keep a safe distance from moving parts. Verify that the working environment is safe. Use personal protections indicated for the use of each type of equipment, machine and tool. Keep tools and equipment in good condition and store them properly after use. PPE when using a radial grinder. In addition to basic PPE, helmet, safety boots and glasses, use the following PPE when using a radial grinder: face shield, hearing protection, gloves. When not occasional jobs, welding apron or jacket. And if necessary, a mask. Welding. Check the good condition of all welding equipment before use: hoses, flow valves, gauges, cables, etc. Always keep gas cylinders upright and secured. Control sparks and flying particles, shielding the area if necessary. Place fire extinguishers nearby. Whenever possible, weld in ventilated areas. Personal protective equipment for welding work. Welders will use the following PPE: actinic glass face shield, if necessary, coupled to a helmet. Safety footwear, gloves, sleeves and leather leg protections, welding jacket or apron, if necessary, balaclava, and, depending on the type of welding and on the ventilation, respiratory protection. Lifting and transporting loads. Loads will be lifted and transported by trained and authorized staff wearing suitable PPE. Before use, check the good condition of the equipment and of all auxiliary lifting accessories. Hooks shall include a safety latch. Never exceed the maximum load for which the equipment or lifting accessories, slings, sling chains, hooks, etc. have been designed. Do not cancel safety devices. Signpost and mark the hazard zone. Hold the load correctly using suitable slings and straps. Do not carry objects that are loose or poorly strapped. Do not walk or stand under or near suspended loads. Use ropes to guide loads. Moving loads by hand. If you are unable to use load lifting and transport equipment, observe the following rules. Stretch and warm up before performing any physical exercise. It is also recommended that you stretch after finishing the task. Request assistance from colleagues to avoid lifting loads that are too heavy. Coordinate with them. Adopt appropriate positions. Do not bend or twist excessively. If you have to lift a load, separate your feet. Place one foot further forward than the other in the direction of the movement. Hold the load firmly with both hands close to your body. Stand up slowly, taking the strain on your legs and keeping your back straight. If you are performing cable laying work, unwind the cable with the assistance of a colleague. After each pulling cycle, change to the other side of the cable. Rotate your position with your colleagues from front to back after each pulling cycle. Road safety. Observe traffic rules. In industrial facilities and sites, drive slowly and pay particular attention to pedestrians. Be extremely careful in difficult driving conditions, such as mountainous areas or complicated accesses to work sites, adverse weather conditions, etc. Use defensive driving techniques. Drugs and alcohol. The consumption of drugs and alcohol is forbidden. These substances, as well as certain medicines, affect your psychophysical conditions, increasing risks associated with handling equipment or vehicles, and may, in turn, pose a risk to third parties. Emergencies. If you detect a fire, tell your supervisor. If you cannot find him, notify the emergency services. If taking action yourself is not dangerous, try to extinguish the fire, but without undue risk. Otherwise, evacuate the area. Environmental emergencies. The most frequent type of environmental emergency is the spillage of a hazardous product, oil, fuel, paint. If you find a spill on the ground, inform your supervisor and try to prevent the spill from spreading. Try to prevent it from flowing into drains or sewers. Use absorbent material, sand used to absorb oil, rags, cotton or other similar materials to stop and clean a spill. The impregnated material is considered a hazardous waste and will therefore be placed in bags or containers for storage, which will be clearly identified. In the event of an accident or incident. In the event of an accident, the first step is to attend to the injured, but without endangering yourself or others. Observe the following order. 1. Protect. Check that the area is safe for the injured person or people and for you. If not, make it safe, signs, cut power, etc. 2. Alert. Notify your superior. If you cannot find him, notify the emergency services. And if you have the required knowledge, apply first aid. After the accident, incident, fire, or environmental emergency, the event will be investigated to establish the causes and apply measures to prevent it from happening again. Remember that the company shall punish any infringement of these instructions and health and safety rules. For us, you are the most sophisticated and capable work asset, but also the most sensitive and vulnerable. Do not place yourself at risk. You are a high-value asset, and nobody else can take your place. Welcome to Grupo ISASTUR.